Hi friends, let's read another story out of Children of the Wind and Water, 5 stories about Native American children, written by Stephen Krinsky, illustrated by James Watling. Let's see, so we're getting into the 3rd story today. A Huron canoe maker. Huron. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. In a wide clearing by the lake, White Feather added wood to a small fire. She was boiling spruce gum. The gum was bubbling in a birch bark cooking box. The fire under it had to be tended carefully. If it grew too high, the box would burn. If it fell too low, the spruce gum wouldn't boil at all. White Feather slowly stirred the spruce gum with a stick. She traced a turtle on its surface. White Feather's family were members of the turtle clan. Other families belonged to the clans of different animals: the wolf, the beaver, the owl, the crane. White Feather liked the turtle best. Turtles were slow but steady, the way she often felt herself. Sorry, it's getting dark so early here. Next to the turtle, she drew the canoe her family was now making. She put her brother Red Oak in the back. Whenever they went canoeing together, he always insisted on steering. They had started building the new canoe a few days earlier. First, her father had driven tall stakes into the ground to mark the canoe's shape. Then he had cut the birch bark for the canoe bottom and sides. Birch bark was used because it could be stripped off the tree in long sheets. It was so thick and tough that water could not leak in. The cut bark was kept wet so it would not dry out and crack when the wooden frame was placed inside it. The piece for the bottom of the canoe was held down flat with rocks. The side pieces were cut to fit the tapered shape of the canoe. The sound of chopping drew White Feather's attention. Her father and Red Oak were cutting wood for the canoe's frame with stone axes and wedges. The wood was white cedar, which was light but strong and easy to shape. Once the wood was cut, they would shave the shorter pieces into wooden ribs with a crooked knife. It's a lot of work. Such skill and artistry. Red Oak was just learning how to handle a knife. He had cut himself once already. When the spruce gum had boiled, White Feather left it to cool. Then she joined her mother, who was sewing the pieces of bark together. White Feather began helping her. She took a bone tool to make small holes in the bark. Then she threaded spruce root through the holes. Her mother had taught her to pull the roots until the bark pieces overlapped snugly. It was not good to pull them too tightly, though. Then they would ripple and water would seep through. When all the pieces were sewn together, White Feather brought over the spruce gum. She and her mother began smearing it over the seams on one side of the canoe. The sticky sap felt strange between White Feather's fingers. Boiling the spruce gum had thickened it, and thicker spruce gum made a better watertight seal. White Feather worked carefully. She rubbed the gum over every seam and hole so water would have no way to enter. As the sun set, she and her mother finished. Red Oak and their father stopped as well. In the deepening shadows, it was too easy to make mistakes with a crooked knife. Tomorrow, White Feather would boil more spruce gum for the other side of the canoe. Her brother and father would shave more wooden ribs. Over several more days, they would fit them into the bark shell. When the canoe was done, the family would use it to hunt and fish and journey over the lake. White Feather smiled. This time, she hoped to steer the canoe herself. The end. And that story was A Huron Canoe Maker, out of Children of the Wind and Water, 5 stories about Native American children, written by Stephen Krinsky, illustrated by James Watling.